amazing. That's where they're chasing each other on opposite sides, and Seamus shoots across at Sam and Vincent in the car, and that's where you mentioned like some poor guy just driving along gets shot and crashes and flips his car.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cop car that flips at some point, and Vincent and Sam like narrowly missed that one.
Oh yeah, the editing in that is amazing.
Yeah. And that's a crazy car chase because it goes from the city to the tunnel and back out, and then they're like on the freeway, and they go up the wrong way on the freeway. Which I keep meaning to ask you: have you ever seen a movie called To Live and Die in L.A.?
I don't believe so.
It's a William Friedkin movie from the early 80s.
Okay.
It's like William Friedkin had like two great movies in the 70s, The French Connection and The Exorcist, and then just kind of like Frankenheimer, just kind of everything he does since then.
He couldn't really,
has not been great.
Live up to it.
Yeah. But he makes this movie in the 80s called To Live and Die in L.A., which is really good. It's got Willem Dafoe and William Peterson in it. And there's another fantastic car chase in that movie, and one of the things they do in the car chase is they go up the wrong way on the freeway. And that's what this reminded me of when I was watching Ronin, is they go up the wrong way on the freeway. So that's the longer of the two chases in the film, but again, I don't think that they're nearly as long as the people that were complaining about them thought they were. But it has all these aspects to it. This is the car chase where De Niro's driving and it looks like he's about to shit his pants. While he's driving, he looks pretty scared behind the wheel. But they pursue them. There's a construction zone because the freeway isn't finished. So Vincent shoots out the tires of the car that Deirdre and Gregor and Seamus are in. The car flips and ends up going off the freeway to the ground below, which it didn't look that high, but still, I mean, flip a car over and drop it off an overpass, it's still gonna be a pretty crazy crash.
They were doing some road construction, right? It was like an unfinished...
Yeah, it's like an unfinished ramp or overpass. So they fall off the overpass, which doesn't look that high, but still, you know, being in a car that falls off, you know, that's in a free fall for 20 feet, 30 feet, whatever it is, I'm surprised that they survived, even wearing a seatbelt. But they managed to escape. You know, Sam and Vincent try to get Gregor, don't get Gregor. Seamus and Deirdre are pulled out by the road crew. And then then Vincent and Sam are trying to figure out, like, where's Gregor? You know, we need to find him. And they're working it out, and they realize that, you know, the case is the key. He had made the case, or someone made the case for him. How was it made? Where was it made? When would he have the time? And they notice, you know, all the kids with the cases. And they realize that the Russians got him the case so that he could swap it out. And Vincent goes and speaks to one of the parents with the girls and asks about the case. Turns out the case is for ice skates. And then through talking to someone else, they figure out we were chasing the wrong, or they figure out when they're looking at the skates, when they're in the cafe, they figure out they're not supposed to be looking for Gregor. They need to look for the Russians. If they find the Russians, they'll find Gregor. And so they're talking to some guy, and some guy points at the poster on the wall, which is for the ice skating pageant or competition, whatever it is, that's going on in Paris. And he says, if you want to find Russians in Paris, that's where you're going to go. You go to the ice skating. So Vincent and Sam go there. Gregor is there, and Gregor's going to do a deal with one of the Russian guys. the guy who sent the other guy to kill Gregor before when they were in the car. And this guy, his girlfriend, is the main attraction, the figure skater is the main attraction. And he goes to do the deal with Gregor, and Gregor says, you know, we're going to do the deal here. I'm going to take my money and I'm going to leave. Once I get the money, I need to call my contact, because she's a sniper and she's going to kill the ice skater, your girlfriend. She's going to kill her if I don't call and, you know, tell her I'm safe. So he gets the money and he turns around and the Russian's got a gun in his face. And there's this really tense standoff where he's like, you know, you got 30 seconds. I need to make this call. And the guy just doesn't budge. And then, you know, his time's up. He just kills Gregor in like a really cold-blooded, brutal way. He just lets his girlfriend get killed.
Yeah, I was really confused by that. Was he just like had enough where he was like, do what you want, but I'm gonna fucking murder you right now, no matter what?
And basically, I think it was, I only really give a shit about the case. I don't give a shit about you, and I don't give a shit about my girlfriend. But yeah, it's just like brutal. Because he kills Gregor, and then immediately, like, the sniper takes out the figure skater.
Who I think she is killed too, right?
Yeah, she's gut shot.
And it creates this fucking huge, like, panic in that arena. Yeah.
The ice skater, by the way, is Katarina Witt, who's a real ice skater. And, if I'm not mistaken, Olympic gold medalist as well. But yeah, she dies, creates a panic. Everyone is running out. Vincent and Sam go to look for Gregor, find him dead. They see the Russians. They give chase to the Russians, who go outside and are ambushed by Seamus, who kills both of them, takes the case. And Sam tells Vincent to, you know, follow Seamus in the case. And he goes because he knows that Deirdre is nearby. And then he goes and finds her and says, hey, you need to leave right now. Just go. And she says, well, you know, come with me. And he says, I can't. He's like, you need to leave now. He's like, I never left, meaning he's still active CIA. He's not a mercenary. He's basically a deep cover operative. And his objective is this case.
He's here to get Seamus, right?
Yeah, and that's what he tells her. He says, you know, I'm not here necessarily for the case. I'm here for Seamus. You know, I came for your boss. I never left. You know, you need to get out of here, or else you're gonna get caught. So she takes off, you know, and leaving Seamus. Seamus tries to chase the car, and then we see Sam's friend from earlier, you know, his CIA contact roll up too, and then, you know, they're gonna catch Seamus. And just then Vincent comes in. And I think Vincent is trying to get the case because he doesn't know exactly what's going on. And then it's kind of this real quick moment of confusion that Seamus gets the drop on Vincent, ends up shooting Vincent, and then, you know, running off. And Sam gives chase. And as they enter the arena, Seamus shoots Sam and is about to kill him, and then Vincent comes up behind Seamus and kills Seamus. And then there's a scene where both men look like Vincent especially looks like he's going to die, because he just kind of slumps over, and Sam is just left on the ground bleeding as well. But, you know, there's the case. And then the final scene of the movie, there's like a radio broadcast that says that there's there's a peace agreement between the British government and the Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland, and that peace agreement came about because of the death of Seamus. And that's really what this was all about, was, Seamus was a terrorist. Whatever was in the case, they were after. And Sam, his ultimate purpose, or his ultimate mission, was to catch Seamus so that they can try to broker a peace deal between the British government and the Sinn Féin. I believe the Sinn Féin is the kind of the more radical of the IRA, the radical part of the IRA.
Okay.
So they were trying to get this peace agreement, and the death or the apprehension of Seamus is what was going to bring that about. That's really what everything was. The ultimate goal. Like I said, the case was unimportant. Excuse me. The case was unimportant. It was getting Seamus. And the case was what was going to bring Seamus out of whatever hiding he was in. So that's why when we talk about the MacGuffin and what's in the case, and it doesn't really matter what was in the case because they were really after Seamus. But there's this scene that kind of mirrors the very beginning where they all meet up, and it's Sam and Vincent sitting in the cafe, and Sam is waiting for Deidre, but Vincent says, she won't come back here. She's on the run now. And then they part ways, and you can tell that you can tell that from the very beginning when Sam saves Vincent's life from that ambush in the underneath the bridge, but you can tell that these guys have a bond. And, they go to leave, and Vincent asks him one more time, what was in the case? And Sam just says, I don't remember. and then walks off, gets into the car with his CIA contact, and then they drive off, and then Vincent exits the cafe, and he has a little bit of voiceover at the very end that just says, no questions, no answers. That's the business that we're in. And then he walks off, and that's the end of the movie.
What did you are you aware of the alternative endings?
Yes, I am aware of the alternate ending. The Blu-ray has that on it, but tell us about the alternate ending.
The one that I'm aware of is that Deidre, I think there might be two. So there's one where Deidre is like watching Vincent and Sam at the coffee shop, and she starts to go over to them, and then she decides not to, and then just leaves. And then we cut into the ending that we got. And then there's another one where it's kind of inferred that Deidre is killed, where she's kidnapped, I think, by
the IRA.
Yes.
Because she betrayed them.
Yeah, and they don't execute her on screen, but it's kind of like she's dragged off, and apparently they didn't keep that one in, even though Frankenheimer really liked that ending. I think I remember reading that he thought that was a very smooth ending, in his opinion, but that the test audiences hated the thought of Deidre dying so much that they didn't go with it.
Yeah, she's kind of the wild card in the film, where I wouldn't say that she's a good person, but I don't think that she was totally a bad person either.
Mm-hmm.
So I think leaving her fate up in the air, leaving her kind of ambiguous, where you don't really know what happened after she left the arena, is probably for the best. But yeah, the ending the alternate ending that I saw was the one where